Hello, welcome to the Hotline Live with Record Sport. Keith and I were a bit worried that we wouldn't be joined from Celtic Park.
Or anywhere for that matter. If
By-
people actually knew the stress levels that were involved moments before this thing goes live.
But Keith, you did
they'd actually
say,
have sympathy for us.
you did say, Michael will find a
We'll
way.
find a way.
And there he is, Michael Gannon from Celtic Park.
As an East End of Glasgow boy, I know how to break and enter most places. So I forced my way into the Celtic media marquee well before kick-off. So, there's certain things you get taught at school when I grew up, so it's quite handy.
I've heard you claim all this before, Mick. Some people have cast doubt over this sort of I'm a working class lad background that you claim.
There's been accusations of Sparrow Valley and all that stuff. I'm not having none of it. My dad was a Coleman.
Mick, it's obviously a huge game for Celtic tonight. Massive. I think you said the biggest game of the season so far, which I think is spot on. How's the atmosphere? Do you anticipate them getting a result?
Looks as if it's jumping.
Well, not so much in here. You can hear it outside starting to bubble under. I think there's a bit of apprehension. Listen, Celtic through the years in Europe have caused a bit of kind of trauma for supporters. I mean, I think not so long ago, kind of games where they think they're going to go and get a result and they've kind of tripped up. I'm thinking about like Bodo Glint in the conference a few years ago when they think they can go and run that competition. Copenhagen, the last 32 of Europe, UEFA Cup. These kind of games that you expected, maybe Celtic fans may expect to win, they haven't done. So I think there's a bit of scar tissue in these kind of matches. So I think there's excitement levels, but there's also a bit of trepidation around this one because they've seen Celtic trip up in these kind of matches before. And it doesn't help when you get young boys, got a new manager, nothing to lose. He's talking about rotating his team and trying a few things out. You think, oh, these are all red flags. These are all Scottish clubs in Europe, red flags ahoy.
These are clearly Celtic fans that have been listening to you for 3 days, Mick.
Wow, dropped up here. I know.
Listen, do you know what I would say? I'm quite pleased that there's a bit of nervous energy around the place because that feeds into what it needs to be. It needs to feel a big night. It needs to feel. See if it was a little bit flat and Celtic punters were turning up just thinking, this one's in the bag. I don't think that helps matters. I think it's good if there's nervous energy, if there's excitement levels, because I think that'll help crank the noise up to where it needs to be for the start, from the outset. And that's not always the case in games that Celtic fans turn up thinking their side's going to win. So I think that's good. I think it adds to the sense of drama, adds to the sense of occasion, and should bring Celtic's performance up accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's been part of the kind of Brendan Rodgers kind of propaganda machine in the last few weeks as well, making sure this team has got an edge for this game. And there isn't any kind of complacency. Not that there should be any complacency in Europe. I think Celtic haven't really earned the right to be complacent in Europe. You've got to say. Listen, Celtic are more than capable of beating young boys and beating them quite comfortably. If Celtic go out and play the way they played against Leipzig, for example, they'll clatter this team. They'll clatter them. I mean, it'll be another Bratislava job. I'm convinced of it. I don't think they're quite as bad as some of the results have shown, but they're not that great either. Young boys, they're a pretty middling outfit, and if Celtic turn up, they can take care of business. But
in the Champions League context, Mike, they're not a middling outfit. They're 36th out of 36. They've got no points. They've conceded 22 goals. I think they've scored 3.
2 of their own goals.
They've not enjoyed this competition. It's been an ordeal, and I don't think that they're going to enjoy tonight either. I think that I think they just want this one out the road. And if they turn up and the place is absolutely electric and bouncing, and it feels like they're walking into the Lion's Den, they won't offer up much of a fight here. But it does depend on Celtic starting the game correctly, finding the right tempo, getting at them, sicking them early doors. And if Celtic do that, I think they'll go on to win comfortably. I've went 3-0 tonight for Celtic.
I think I backed 3-1 in the paper, but I've been known to change my mind after I hit the send button. These things. I don't think it'll be a straight fall. I think there'll be nervy occasions. I think there'll be moments when it will be a wee bit tense, and there'll be periods when they have the ball and all that stuff. I think they're a big physical side as well, so they'll make it tough. But Celtic have to get their good players on the ball. They have to get their wide men. Have to get Kuhn firing one side, made another. Kyogo needs to turn up and have one of his live wire performances, which he can do. If he gets a bit more space in a European night, I think he can be really dangerous. Middle apart for me, I think is the most important bit though, because without the middle apart function, those guys don't get on the ball, don't get opportunities. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's going to be Engels and Hatate getting the nod.
Yeah.
I would expect those two to start. And we know when they two are on form, they're terrific. I mean, they can thread balls through, they can score goals. I mean, they can keep things ticking over. The problem is that they can get a bit risky. Some of the passings can be a bit risky. Sometimes they can lose possession. So the trick for the two is to keep the ball and be aggressive and forward thinking and attack minded. So I think that's going to be interesting.
I think the only question in terms of the midfield, I think Hatate and Cal McGregor are stick-ons to start the match. So the question is then, is it Paulo Bernardo or is it Arnie Engels? And that has been the sort of standard question over the last wee while. I think you're right, though. I think he'll go with Engels tonight. I think his ability to get about the park, and I think he offers, an attacking threat, physical threat inside the Swiss box. Yeah, for all those reasons, I think. And by the way, not forgetting the fact that they paid out a small fortune for him. It was for nights like this.
I think he's also played pretty well the last few weeks as well. Arnie Engels. Weekend is a bit hit and miss. I think in general he's been pretty good the last few weeks. Whereas I think Bernardo, I think he had a poor game at Ibrox, and he's not quite been at it. The times he's appeared since then either. So I think on form, I think Engels would get the nod as well. Not there's much on it. I think, listen, you got a case for Luke McCowan as well. I mean, everything's played. He's barely put a foot wrong.
Aye.
I think he'll have an impact from the bench right enough. I think they both will. I can imagine the two of them will get on the pitch at some point. The proceedings, they'll need them because it's a hard shift tonight. Because they want that Celtic high energy, high pressing, high voltage night. And that might mean that after an hour or so, when the job's done or nearly done,
keep the energy levels up.
Made. Yeah, so I think it's going to be all hands to the pump job tonight, isn't it?
The apprehensive sort of mixed mood is definitely shared by some of the comments we're getting in. Dougie Main, if we can't beat this mob tonight, we should be ashamed. Bottom of the group, scored a total of 3 goals, 2 of them being own goals. If John here saying if Celtic don't win tonight, then we don't deserve to progress. We don't want to rely on getting a result against Villa.
Well, that was, by the way, that didn't help last night, did it? Villa's result in Monaco.
No.
Because we've been talking about this and saying, look, this is the one Celtic need to take care of business tonight. You do not want to be going to Villa Park needing something in that final game. And that was even if you thought that Villa were fairly secure, that they had already booked their place into the last. They would have been the top 8, wouldn't they? So, but now that's in the balance for Villa.
Yeah.
So they're going to go full tilt, you would imagine, in the final game. They want the 3 points to avoid having to go through the playoff round. So that puts even more emphasis on tonight. But as I keep saying, I've been feeling this for a few days now. In fact, I've been feeling it since we originally saw the fixtures. This was probably Celtic's most winnable game out of the lot, with the possible exception of Bratislava. And the way that Celtic have played, the way that they've matured and grown into this competition, I genuinely can't see them failing to capitalise tonight. I just can't. But I'm pleased that there is nervous energy, as we discussed. I'm pleased that the fans are turning up, feeling that kind of feeling in their stomach, because they've got a part to play here. Being no doubt about that. The atmosphere means so much on these European nights. Not only can it be intimidatory to the opposition teams who haven't experienced it, young boys, as we discussed last night. Bern is one of the quietest, most beautiful kind of little towns you'll ever get the pleasure of visiting in your life. It isn't Glasgow's East End on Champions League night under the lights. That's for sure. It's a million miles away. So I think that it can have a factor in unsettling the opposition. But I think more than that, I think it's the energy, it's the extra percentage that it brings to Celtic's performance. That's going to be so key tonight. I really believe that.
And Mick, William Sloan, watching live on YouTube, makes a good point. Villa shouldn't even be a thought when we're through, barring a bizarre set of results. That's all Celtic need to think about tonight.
Yeah, correct. I mean, you look at the table, and Celtic now are kind of crept down to kind of 23rd out of 24. It's a wee bit too close for comfort. And you're looking at, and people are saying, well, what's happening? The PSG are playing against Man City. I mean, PSG been in that bottom line, and that's a nightmare, really, having them. Real Madrid, Celtic are sandwiched between Real Madrid, Man City and PSG. So and PSG at the moment are the ones that are missing out. You think that can't be good, but they've got obviously Man City tonight, and you're thinking, well, if Man City can get a result over there, that might ease a bit of the kind of anxiety. But
listen, you wouldn't want to put anything on Man City either right now, Mike. I know they've turned the corner a little bit, but
yeah, the previous emails is absolutely bang on. Forget about who drops points there. Go and win the game tonight, and it doesn't really matter. I think there's a permutation that can throw a spoke in the wheels if Celtic do win as well. But I think it's a bit unlikely. It's all a bit confusing, some of this stuff, isn't it? But win tonight, and they're pretty much that's it sorted. They're there for Villa game, and that's what they snapped the hand off at that when the draw was made.
One more comment, guys. I'll hit you with it because I think Danny here sums up what a lot of the Celtic fans are feeling. They're not up to much, young boys, but Celtic look knackered recently. We've dropped points to both Dundee sides, lost to Ibrox. I think we'll win narrowly in a long, hard night. I think, like you said, Mick, if Celtic turn up the way they did against Leipzig, they'll batter this team, but they haven't turned up that in a while.
Probably since Leipzig, to be honest. They haven't really hit those heights since that night.
And that was the start of November, Mick.
Yeah, they've had patches of games. I think they've looked really good, but not put it together. Like that night, everything was put together. You had the atmosphere, the performance, the goals. Everything was all perfect for Celtic that night. It's not quite been like that since then. But it's not. Listen, it's never going to be. December into January is always a slog. Nobody ever remembers it because it's that kind of selective memory. People remember the sunshine in April, May, and all that stuff, and the trophies are won. Nobody remembers the slog through the winter weeks, and this year has been a bigger slog than ever. I think because of the condensed fixture list, the no winter break. I mean, usually it's a slog up to the winter shutdown. They get 2 weeks to recharge. The team in Scotland this time they've gone right the way through, so they came to this stage now. I agree, looking a wee bit weary, but it's understandable. But they just need to take a deep breath and dig out a big performance tonight. I mean, I'm not saying it's make or break the season, but it's going to be a huge impact on how the rest of the season is judged. That's for sure.
Do you not feel, Mick, it's almost as if Brendan Rodgers has his eye on this particular fixture for some time and from some distance out, knowing if he can get to this, if he can just keep it ticking along, grind out some results, stay in charge of the domestic situation, but just keep focused on this, because I think the shot in the arm Celtic could get from tonight, from hearing the Champions League music, from a full Parkhead, from doing something, achieving something, and this would be an achievement to get through into the playoff stages. I think that's almost a bit where you then, I'm not saying you free wheel for the rest of the season, but I think you've climbed the hill. I think momentum's at your back at this point. I think tonight could be such a significant night in the context of the whole season for Celtic, because it plants one foot where exactly they wanted to be. It achieves one of the targets that was set out for the players at the start of the season. And, I think the whole thing will build after that. And I think Brendan Rodgers has been looking at that from, as I said, from a distance out, knowing, how significant tonight could be in the context of the whole campaign.
No, listen, absolutely. I mean, every bit of rotation he's done, every tweak of the team he's made on a weekly basis, I think it's been my view, getting through this period and trying to get to this point with his squad as strong as it can possibly be. I think he's just about managed that. I mean, I think he's been fairly fortunate in terms of injuries. Celtic, obviously lost James Forrest longer term, which is a blow. But by and large, they've managed to kind of get through this period. I mean, Kuhn had a wee spell out, made a mistake one game or two. They had that flu bug that hit them at Christmas, which I think was actually a big factor in some of the performances in that period.
But missed a few.
Yeah, but nothing. No big.
Nothing serious.
Job, nothing substantial. So that I think he has negotiated a path to this point, and the squad probably isn't about as strong a shape as he could have hoped for, given the workload. So there isn't any excuses. Listen, he said himself, he doesn't listen to him. Remember before Christmas, the word of the week was being tired. Remember across the city, where people talking about being tired, and it was a kind of dirty word in football. Rodgers has kind of banned that word. I mean, he was given that kind of opt out yesterday, and he said, "Listen, I'm not talking about players being tired. I don't want to hear about being tired. With the extra day's rest from the weekend, we're fine, we're firing, ready to go." So he's not letting that creep into subconscious minds. You know what I mean? That sometimes it can.
Because he's smart enough to know that if you plant that seed in the head of some of these players, they'll use it as an excuse, Michael. And You know, and I think that was how he responded when he was asked about Clement making such a big deal of the recommendations stroke demands from the sports science department. He said, look, these guys are here to help. They're here to advise me. I'll look at the figures. I'll look at what they're saying. But the bottom line is, sometimes you need to tell players to go back to the well. And they might feel tired. But if you tell them they're tired, then that's what you're going to get. But you just tell them, get out there, give us it again. And then, do you know what? Once they're out there, they start enjoying themselves. And all of a sudden, the tired legs don't feel tired anymore.
Yeah,
and he's been a master of that.
Yeah, and once you hear that Champions League anthem tonight, I think that would send
the whole point, isn't it?
Exactly, this is what they're here for.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. I think it's I don't think that'll be an excuse tonight. That's for sure. And obviously, there's some good news this afternoon. Obviously, with Kasper Schmeichel.
I was going to say that.
I was going to ask you about that.
That helps everybody feel good and get up, you know, a little bit of excitement. That was quite clever, I thought, in terms of PR, just putting that one out there this afternoon.
Yeah, and he's emerged as such a key character at the club already. I mean, he big gloves to fill with Joe Hart leaving, and he's been perfect for Celtic, really. I mean, a huge character, big influence in the dressing room. He's got that mentality. I think he said himself, this is what he's been looking for his entire career. A club with a real winning mentality. I can have like losing as a catastrophe, drawings a disaster. He buys into that and he enjoys that, and he seems to be completely relishing it. And listen, he's been a top performer. It do have to be kind of dodgy wee moment here and there, but that's acceptable. But I think he's been a calming influence, great experience, and he's been a great acquisition for Celtic. And he's been at this level as well. He's going to be much needed as well. So no, I was going to say, for tabloid terms, it's playing young boys. One of the old boys gets a new deal, so it's like it's all there for us tonight and for your colour piece. But so it's a boost for them as well. But I think it was all, we knew it was going to happen, didn't we? It's not a big surprise, really. We asked them last week.
But it's welcome news for Celtic nonetheless, man.
Exactly, yeah. I think we asked him last week. He says, you losing any kip over your new contract? He says, it's like my baby. I'm all right. I'm not worried. Obviously knowing it was getting done anyway. So yeah, it's no surprise, and a good bit of business for both parties.
Before we let you go, Mick, I think you mentioned 3-1 in the paper for tomorrow. Are you standing? Today, rather. Are you standing by? Are you standing by that?
I think I will. I think I'll stick by it. Yeah. I think I'll stick by it. I think there will be some bumpy bits along the way because it's never straightforward at this level. But yeah, I can see a fairly comfortable win in the end, even though it might not feel it at times. Keith,
you're much more confident 3-0, you think?
Yeah, and I tell you, I'll go further than that. I think if Celtic were to score early, I think they'll get right on top of this. And I don't know if I agree with Michael about it being a nervous night. I think if Celtic get up for this, get right on top of it, they can sicken the Swiss side that don't really want to be here, and just make it another chapter of the ordeal that they've had. I can see Celtic getting on top, getting a couple of goals ahead, and then being in control, because we've seen that from Brendan Rodgers' side. They know how to do it now in Europe. I think if they can get themselves in front, get the atmosphere up, take control of the game, get a third in the second half, happy days, game over.
Mick, thanks so much for joining us on the Hotline Live as ever. We really appreciate it and hope it's a cracker for you.
I better go and hand these keys back for the security guards. drag me off the premises.
Make sure you get a selfie on the stage, though.
Well done, Mick. No fingerprints now.
No, I ain't got here. I put a balaclava back on and sneak out the back door. A cat murder.
Balaclava, where you going at the North Curve?
Love it. Not quite. Hey, chaps, I'll see you later on then.
Cheers, Mick.
Cheers, Mick.
Michael Gannon there, all the way from Celtic Park. We're obviously going to be joined a little bit later in the show.
Hopefully.
By our colleagues from Manchester who've been down.
And by the way, just like Michael, they were booted out of Old Trafford. The plan was that they were going to join us from there. They were at the both press conferences this afternoon, Ruben Amorim's, and the Rangers press conference with Philip Clement and James Tavernier. But they contacted us no moments before we came on air that the locks were getting put on the doors at Old Trafford. So they're scurrying back towards their digs, which I think is close enough by, and we fully anticipate them to jump on hopefully before the end of the show. And let's not forget, Daniel, let's remind everybody watching, tonight we're doing a double shift.
Absolutely.
And we are again doing it tomorrow after the Rangers match from 10 o'clock tonight. It's all about what's going on at Celtic Park. Have Celtic got the result? What does everybody feel about it? Get in touch with your comments through all the social platforms. Let us know. Get in touch and let's have a debate if there's anything that needs to be debated about at 10 o'clock tonight. And same goes for tomorrow night after the Rangers game. Hopefully, on both nights, we're celebrating Scottish teams really landing punches at the European level. And you know, it would be so good for not just for Celtic and for Rangers, but for Scottish football in general. If our two big teams can get themselves into the playoff stages, at least, by the way, for these new expanded competitions at the first attempt, it's just good news all round. And I'm really hoping that at 10 o'clock tonight and at 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we're sitting having a happy discussion about how good it was to watch.
Hopefully. Joshua in the comment section was asking, do we think it'll be 2 wins this week? And I put that up because I think there will be 2 wins. I think Celtic will win tonight, and I think Rangers will win tomorrow as well.
Look, do you know what the imponderable is with Rangers tomorrow? How do Man United react to what Amorim has said about them?
Yeah.
What's the reaction look like?
This Man United team isn't a team with great character, is it? It's not going
No, but they've got a lot of really talented players who cost a hell of a lot of money, and there's substantial more wages. And I don't want to sound like Philip Clement here, but I know that in his press conference today, he mentioned budgets and then thought better of it and walked back from, because he has made a habit of saying these things. And we all know it. I mean, we're no daft. We know that Manchester United pay, you know, the sort of wages Rangers could only imagine paying. But so there is that financial disparity. But Man United aren't a good team. Everybody knows it. The manager reckons that they're the worst Manchester United team possibly in history. So that does give Rangers an opportunity. But as I said, I think it will depend a lot and almost entirely on how the United players respond to what Amorim has said, and also what the crowd feel about it. So, I mean, I'm talking about the importance of the atmosphere at Celtic Park tonight. You know, a Celtic crowd that are fully engaged, that are right up from it from the first minute. What's it going to look like at Old Trafford?
Yeah.
Are the United fans going to turn up angry? Are they going to be sitting on their hands? Are they going to be discontent? Or are they going to go, right, come on, it's time to get back? Because if they do that and Old Trafford is bubbling and crackling at kickoff time, that could play into how the game goes as well. So definitely. I think there's a lot. Listen, do you know what? I'll sign for right now. Celtic to get a win, Rangers to get a point, and that's it. They're both home and host. And by the way, you know, despite the fact what Amorim said about this Manchester United side, I'm not disagreeing with him, it still would constitute a terrific achievement for a Scottish side to go down there and come away undefeated. Especially if that, which it would do for Rangers, gives them the point, which more or less I think it would secure a place in the playoff stages.
Yeah.
I mean, and with one more game still to go against USG at Ibrox, Rangers might still even be in the mix for automatic qualification without having to go to the playoffs.
It could be. I think if this Rangers team, I mean, how maligned was it early in the season? If they face Spurs and Man United and don't lose to either of them, that's a big achievement. It really is. I would say.
And it's great for Scottish football that we can say, well, look how bad Rangers are just now, and your side still can't beat them.
Aye, exactly.
Look, I'm just fascinated. I'm really interested. I'm really excited by what we're about to witness over the next couple of nights. And I do feel as if this could be, you know, a memorable 24 hours for Scottish football. If the results go the way of our clubs, then, you know, we can puff our chests out a little bit and say, do you know what, Scottish football, you know, you all talk it down, but that's a considerable achievement, and it would be for both of them. I hope that we're not having a post-mortem later on. I hope that we're not saying, where did it all go wrong, and then dreading the idea of Celtic having to go to Aston Villa and needing something. But I keep coming back to it. I don't want to be overconfident, but I just don't see it. I think Celtic will take care of business tonight. They've proven themselves over the course of this campaign. Go back to the Atlanta away game. I said that was a coming-of-age performance in the Champions League for that Celtic side. And everything that I've seen subsequent to that would tend to back it up. And look who's joined us.
Look who's joined us. There they are. Live from Manchester. How's it going, guys?
Not bad, Daniel.
Just battle through the traffic.
Aye. So, nice one, boys. Is that the bar at your back there, aye? Hotel lobby bar?
We've not even checked into the digs yet. We've flown out Old Trafford. They didn't want us anymore. They said, get out, get lost. Had enough use. Battle through traffic to be here to catch the last 2.5 minutes of Hotline Live before you.
I've already explained that to the audience. Great performance, boys.
We knew you wouldn't let us down. It's been a busy day for you, aye. Obviously, Ruben Amorim first up, and then Philip Clement.
What a brilliant game to be involved in, story-wise and all that. Everything about it. The fact that, and even if things were normal and Manchester United were what we expect them to be, still massive game. But actually, because Man United are going through what they're going through, story-wise, all eyes are on them. I think this is. I'm actually really envious what I'm actually to be involved in, guys, because anything could happen here.
That's the point, Jacko, is that in ordinary circumstances, Man United, Rangers would be such heavy underdogs. They'd be coming down here, probably, if you're being honest, looking to avoid a heavy defeat. Do you know what I mean? Years ago, that'd have been the case, but such unusual circumstances, at Man United. Say we were at the Ruben Amorim presser the day, and I mean, the way he was talking about being nervous coming out at Old Trafford and reiterating this kind of worst United team in years. I mean, they are in an absolute mess, and it just feels like this is a golden opportunity for Rangers to actually come down here and not just get a point, actually go and win. I mean, James Tavernier spoke at the Rangers presser that we've just left, and he seemed confident, didn't he? They're coming down here looking to actually go and win the game, which for a Rangers-Man United game, Rangers going away from home, is very unusual.
Are you getting a sense, guys, down there of what the locals feel like? What the reaction has been? I mean, we can monitor it from afar, but what are the guys on the ground down there? What are they saying? Are they fearing that Amorim might have made a bad situation even worse by saying what he said?
We've driven from Glasgow to the training ground, to the stadium, and I know he'll speak to you. So you're about the only person we spoke to today. So no, there's not much sense. But listen, I think you can speak in just even say Harry Maguire was a player up, Amorim, they're no shying away from how bad a campaign this has been for them. I mean, it's hard to dress up any other way. I think it was 7 defeats out of the last 10, 4 defeats at home out of the last 5, 13th in the league. That's
shambolic.
Results a club the size, stature of Man United, it's nowhere near acceptable. So they are aware of how far off it they've been and how much more they have to improve if they're going to get anywhere close to being challenging, even for Champions League places, never mind prizes. So, listen, as Scott says, this is a big opportunity for Rangers. Listen, it's by no means a straightforward for Rangers either. They've got their own troubles, domestically. They've got their own troubles tomorrow night, selection-wise. I think it's 8 players missing tomorrow night. So it's not as if if this is a Rangers team going in full strength, playing a Man United team that's on its knees. But I think there is a sense that Rangers, if they're going to have an opportunity, if there's one time to get Man United, this is it. This is the good as it gets in terms of a Rangers team coming down here.
See in terms of the local press, Jack, you're asking about what the feeling is. I don't know about Andy, but at the United press of the day, there wasn't a single question about Rangers for the local guys.
Well, that doesn't surprise you, does it? That's just par for the course.
That's what I'm saying. This game, the fact that it's Rangers is irrelevant. All they care about is where Man United are in the Premier League.
Have they fixed the telly in the dressing room?
Aye, exactly. What happened in the dressing room?
They didn't even get asked that question. They were still talking about what the manager said after Brighton about the worst team in United history. So.
Honestly, this could have been anybody. Man United were playing this Europa tie. It didn't matter to them.
Because they don't take it seriously. They're not taking this match seriously. For them, it would be... It's actually beyond contemplation that Manchester United won't beat Rangers. As bad as Manchester United's results have been in the Premier League, the whole idea, the notion, the very idea that Rangers could come down from Scotland and beat them at Old Trafford, that's not even given due consideration.
You know the bizarre thing about like Rangers situation as well. Again, I don't know if Andy felt this, but you felt that the Rangers pressers, I say Tavernier speaking confidently, Clement very relaxed. Rangers look more comfortable coming into a game like this away to Man United than they will do
going away to Ross County.
It's a kind of bizarre thing about this season for Rangers. Honestly, you feel that these players will be more comfortable running out at Old Trafford tomorrow night than they will be at Tannadice for a 12 o'clock kickoff.
It's a similar vibe to when they beat Celtic at Ibrox, and won well and deserved to win. But everyone thought, well, there's Easter Road to come, there's Dens Park after that. Even if they can beat a Celtic team as well as they did in the day, nobody was confident of them going to these tricky away games. Again, the same this week. You've seen them struggle away from home of late. But you would surprise nobody they come away and get a big European result, because they've done it time and time again this year. Malmo getting a decent point away in Athens, stunning in Nice at their home patch. So coming here against, again, a Man United team that are no great shakes, let's be honest. Like they're far away from the sort of side that we all remember from the 90s. But,
still packed for a good player.
Yeah, but, could Rangers come down here and surprise? I don't think that would surprise many Rangers fans. It might surprise a few Man United fans, but I think Rangers fans would think, our team on their day is capable of that. But will they be feeling as confident going to Tannadice at the weekend?
It's funny because we, Scotty, called it in Hotline Live, didn't you, Scotty? You said about Easter Road and Dens Park. You actually predicted that was what was going to happen, and that was after the Old Firm win. So, there is one thing, because we talked about what Clement's lineup was likely to look like, and I made the terrible mistake of not realising that Mohamed Diamande is suspended from this, because I was saying, well, he'll probably go Raskin, Barron, Diamande further forward. That template has worked in Europe. It means sacrificing a more attacking player, but Diamande's got the legs, and that gives him a bit of energy. What's the way around this? I'll ask you, because I was wondering if what he might do is play Yilmaz further forward with
we had the same discussion they drive down, so we were thinking, I think this is the only option he's got, just the sheer number of guys out. If you go through them, obviously Souttar's out, Dujon Sterling's out, Casemiro we all know's out, Oscar Cortez is out, you get Hadji, Danilo, Inciala, Diamande, suspended, but those guys ineligible. Obviously Rafa Fernandez, new signing, also ineligible. So in terms of what the option he's got, obviously the news tonight from the press conference is that Jack Butland's back available. Taking the vibe for Philippe Clement, I think he'll start. He's made clear that he's number one for long enough, so I think it'll be Tavernier at right back. You're talking about Balogun and Proper as your centre backs. Yefte at left back. Must, no other choice to go Yilmaz and Barron as the two sitters.
No, Yilmaz wide left.
Yilmaz wide left.
Raskin and Barron, as the two sitters. Cherny on the right. Bayrami is the 10.
Bayrami in the middle.
Yilmaz off the left with Agamani up front. The only alternative if he goes maybe Agamani off the left and Dessers up front, but I'm not sure.
No, can't see it.
Let's not go there.
You think the theatre of screams is ready for that?
Before we let you go, guys, a lot of people writing in saying that they're very confident of Rangers getting a result tomorrow. This one, Paul, saying that if Clement gets a win, it buys him into next season, definitely. I said before you guys come on that for this Rangers team that was so maligned earlier in the season, if they could face Tottenham and Man United and avoid defeat against both of them, that'd be a monumental achievement. But do you think they will?
I've got a feeling they'll get a draw tomorrow night, Daniel, even with that depleted squad. And you're right, when the draw get made, I think Rangers fans genuinely looked at it, and I heard some of them saying, well, just Man United and Spurs, you need to write off, but if we can win those home games against the other teams, we could maybe still qualify. The fact that they've got a point against Spurs, they're now confident going into this United game.
I think they were writing off Nice away as well, and there was 3 points gained there. So.
Yeah, I think those results, I think those results have been what have given them hope going into this. I mean, this has been a campaign that's devoid of hope, of belief for most Rangers fans, but I think we won arena where they fancy their team is away from home in Europe. I mean, like, there's been enough evidence so far that this is where this team is most comfortable at. It's where it's most happy at. It's sitting in, soaking up pressure, and playing in the counter attack. The way they coped to Malmo. It's a team that, in fact, Malmo were odds-on favourites for that night. They just dominated it, won deservedly, should have won by more than the night. Athens, again, Conference League finalists Olympiacos last season. Rangers didn't look overly troubled by them on that occasion. In Nice, an incredible performance to go and win 4-1 over there. So, if they can go with that same mindset, and be clinical, which I think is the key. Is not something you can always say about this team, but if they can be clinical, then they've got to fancy themselves.
The key thing for me is whether Rangers can exploit this anxiety, this kind of nervousness that United have got. Amarim spoke about the day,
and how the United players react to it.
Yeah, United keep conceding early goals. They keep conceding first. We've seen Brighton do it, Old Trafford, Bournemouth. If you get after them early and can shock them early, and the crowd turns, that's when you see the nerves and the anxiety within this United team. And if Amarim was openly speaking about it, that's in the players' heads going into this game. And as Andy says, Rangers have been dangerous away from home in Europe. They've created chances on the break with Czerny and Bayrami, and Egerman's obviously flying at the minute. I think that'll be the key. If Rangers can score early, or at least pose a threat early and put the doubt in the United players' minds, then I think they can go and get a positive result.
I do think you're right that Diamante's a miss. Haven't been suspended. His legs were key. His ability to cover the ground in Nice were key. So I think Bayrami's got a big job. But I think Yilmaz, if it is him that comes into the left-hand side, he's not been in great form the last few weeks playing out of position at right back. But I think playing the left-hand side, he saw that night against Spurs where he was incredible that night. He was probably as good a performance he's ever managed at a Rangers shirt. So if they can get him back in that position, in that kind of form, and showing the same energy that he did that night, then they've got a chance. But it has to be a fully committed display. It needs to be a 1-11 and nothing less than a 7, 8 out of 10 from every single guy in a jersey. If anybody dips below that, then they could be picked off, and that's the challenge to them.
Score predictions, boys?
I think we did it in the way down for the papers. I'm going with 2 each. I think it'll be an open game.
Scotty.
I've
done that again.
Telepathy again.
Is this romance you're hearing all about?
I'm not even in the same country.
He's been talking about you the whole time I've been doing this. It's all he's been talking about.
I'm embarrassed.
Your travelling partner's just not up to it. I mean, just not up to it.
Well, let me tell you something, Scotty. If I was down there with you tonight, there's only one place we're going for our dinner.
I know.
Do you know they've got a Dishoom in Manchester?
I do indeed, yep.
Mate.
To be fair, it's not a surprise that you guys keep matching up, because, like, when you come up with it, Keith, you can just roll over and tell Scott what you're thinking at home.
I don't know what you're getting at there. That kind of chat will get you cancelled.
Sorry, you said 2-2, Scott? Andy, what are you thinking?
Very much along the same lines of Scott, except I went 1-1, so I can see, if Rangers can maybe score early, put the pressure on United, then I can see them getting a really positive result. And by the way, a draw down at Old Trafford isn't something that should be sniffed at. That would be an incredible result for this Rangers team.
I think it'll be 2-0 Rangers for what it's worth. I really do. I think they'll win tomorrow.
Daniel,
71 at the bookies, Daniel, 71.
Daniel, we're about 8 months into this season. You've not called a one prediction right yet, mate.
Hey, listen, Dundee Derby the other night. Dundee Derby, 1-0 Murray. Your old dad called it.
I can't believe we've slated Rangers the whole season. Now we're predicting them to win 2-0.
It's a funny game, isn't it? Well, guys, listen, thanks so much for joining us on the hotline. We really appreciate it, as always.
Right, get into the Dishoom, get in that queue.
I'm sure there's plenty of museums and stuff and libraries for you to check into tonight, so
Definitely.
Enjoy.
We had the Dishoom carry it.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers, Daniel.
See you, boys.
We've actually still got, Keith, we've got a little bit of footage from the aforementioned press conferences today from Philip Clement and Ruben Amorim.
Just play it then. I tell you what, why don't we just stay on till 10 o'clock? We're halfway there now.
Well, we indulge in a little couple of minutes before we finish.
Yes.
Let's see what they had to say.
We have our game plan like we always do. And that's clear for the team. We discussed that today. We will discuss that more tomorrow. Like I said from the beginning, I'm not somebody who believes in only putting parking a bus in front of goal and hoping that nothing happens and hoping to come one time on the other side and then to score a goal out of that. So we will play out of our qualities also, but of course we need to look also at the qualities of Manchester United, like we did in the other European games the last months, and like I did before also with other teams.
Can you take advantage as well?
I'm totally not busy with that. With if other team are in high confidence or in low confidence or all these studies before. We had it a few weeks ago before the Old Firm that nobody gave us a chance, and the team proved what they can do in big moments. So it's about the moment, being there and be focused on ourselves.
First of all, I want to talk about that. I was talking more for myself than from my players, because I was talking that, and you have to find out a coach that starts a job and lose 8 games, I think, 7 games in the first 10. So it's more for me. I was talking more about me than the players. I also talk in the same response about I was not helping my players. And if you look around, every time I speak, and I speak a lot, every time you push about the players are not good enough, I never put the spot on my players. So I understand. I gave you that headline, and I'm frustrated sometimes, and sometimes I should not say that in that terms, but it is what it is, and that's it. Sometimes it's really hard to hide the frustration in some moments, but the good thing is that I said the same things in a different way in the dressing room 5 minutes before, so the response was quite normal, because I'm really blunt with my players, and they train well, they are ready for this game, and let's see tomorrow.
And Harry, how does
Our producer Angus stitched me up there, and I'll be getting him back for that. William Sloan, though, Keith. Hey, Keith, I'm not sure you really want to be having a go at others' predictions. Yes, William. Yes. Thank you very much.
Hey, what did I call them?
Right, before we finish, back to Celtic predictions.
Interesting, the Amaranth thing there, by the way. Isn't
Aye,
it? That he's now, is anybody buying that? That he's almost suggesting there that, no, I was talking about myself. And I think there was an element of that, in fairness to him. We're saying, same group of players, I've come in, the results have got even worse. So he is taking his share of responsibility. What do you think he said when he was busy throwing things about the dressing room and breaking the TV? Do you think he was saying, this is all my fault? As he's slaughtering everybody. So that's not quite, you never quite get the full kind of truth. But I like Amarim. I like the way he comes across. I just think that he's bitten off a little bit more than even he thought he was about to have to chew on at Man United.
I just think it's a weird strategy. Like, listen, we're rubbish. We know we're rubbish, and we're just the worst team ever. I mean, what's that going to accomplish?
Well, let's see. This is the thing. This is what I'm talking about. Let's see what the reaction looks like tomorrow night. Anyway, you were going to talk about tonight's match at Celtic Park.
Just very finally, I know we made predictions earlier in the show, but just to finish on that,
I haven't changed my mind since the start of the show.
No, but
I know it was a long time ago, but
anyone who wasn't watching, Keith,
yeah,
I think
3-0 Celtic.
3-0 Celtic.
Yeah,
and I'm going to go 1-0 Celtic. There you go. Sleep better tonight. Thanks so much for watching at home. Thanks for all the comments. We really appreciate it. Don't forget, we're back at 10 o'clock tonight to pour over the Celtic game.
Get
all
your
of
comments in. Let us know everything you think about the game, everything you think about team selections, substitutions, goals, drama, whatever it is, and however the situation looks like at full time. Will Celtic have their place guaranteed in the playoff stages of the Champions League, or are we all going to have to put our hands across our eyes and look through the cracks in our fingers as they head down to Aston Villa on the last night of the group stages? So get in touch, let us know.
Absolutely. 10 o'clock tonight. God, we're good to our viewers, Keith, aren't we?
We are.
Right, we will be back then. Keith, I'll see you then. And thanks for watching.
Right, I'm just going for a kip in the corner, my sleeping bag. See you in a bit.
See you soon.